I stood frozen, holding a photograph I had discovered in my husband's apartment, the apartment where he lived alone for work. My hands trembled as I took in the image before me. In the photo, Ryan, my husband, was dressed in a black tuxedo, standing next to a woman in a wedding dress. They were both grinning from ear to ear, radiating happiness. But the problem was that woman wasn't me. Beside the photo lay a stack of documents, official paperwork necessary to issue a marriage certificate. My heart pounded as I scanned the documents, my mind struggling to process what I was seeing. There it was, in black and white, Ryan's name. And next to it, another name, Jessica. I blinked, hoping I had read it wrong. But no, the name was clear. My stomach twisted into knots. Jessica. But it wasn't just the name that shook me to my core. It was the woman in the photograph. I knew her.
I had known her for a long time.
And now, my world was crumbling around me. Overwhelmed by shock, I slumped to the floor. This can't be real, I whispered, clutching the photo. This has to be some kind of mistake. But no matter how many times I muttered those words, the reality before me remained unchanged. My name is Lauren, and I'm 34 years old. 2 years ago, I married Ryan, the man I believed to be the love of my life. We had a happy marriage, or so I thought. Whenever we visited my hometown, Ryan got along well with my parents. He shared drinks with my dad, and every month, he sent flowers to my mom, who adored anything beautiful and delicate. He was a genuinely kind and thoughtful man, someone I never doubted for a second. 6 months into our marriage, Ryan was transferred to another city for work. The twist? His new job was in the same state as my parents. Under normal circumstances, I would have moved with him, without hesitation. But I had just been promoted to manager at my job, a role I had worked tirelessly to earn. If I moved, I would have to quit my job, and after so much effort and dedication, I wasn't ready to give it all up. Conflicted, I agonized over the decision, torn between love and ambition. But Ryan, ever the understanding husband, reassured me. Even if we're apart, my feelings for you won't change. I love you, Lauren. With those comforting words, he moved away for his job, and I fell even more deeply in love with him. For 1.5 years, we maintained our long-distance marriage. We talked every day, and he came home to me every weekend without fail. I'm always rooting for you, Lauren. Keep working hard, he'd say every time we met. I was on cloud 9. One evening, as my birthday approached, I decided to surprise Ryan. Hey, I'll come to your place for my birthday next week. I told him excitedly over the phone. There was a long pause. Then, to my shock, Ryan responded coldly. No, you can't come. I frowned. Why not? I have an important work assignment that day. If you come over, I'll be working overtime and it'll get late. I'd feel bad making you wait. His response didn't sit right with me. But it's my birthday, Ryan. Work doesn't care about birthdays. A pit formed in my stomach, but I tried to push away my doubts. Well, in that case, I'll clean the apartment and cook something nice for us. I'll wait for you. Another pause. Then, in a firm tone, he replied. I said no, Lauren. You can't come. That was the moment I felt it. Something was wrong. Now, sitting on the floor of his apartment, staring at the photo of him and Jessica, everything made sense. All those weekends he couldn't make it home. The odd excuses. The distant responses. Ryan had another life. And I had just discovered it. Lauren, you're swamped with work every day. Don't worry about it. That's what Ryan had told me when I suggested visiting him. Reluctantly, I agreed to celebrate his birthday at my place the following week instead. But something felt off. His reaction had been strange, too abrupt. So, I made a decision. I would surprise him. I had already taken a personal day off for his birthday, so why not use it to visit him instead? His apartment wasn't too far, just in a different part of the state. With a little planning, I could make the trip without him knowing. As I traveled, excitement bubbled inside me. Along the way, I spotted a grocery store and started mentally crafting a feast. I knew all his favorite dishes, and I wanted to make this day special. Hidden inside my bag was a neatly wrapped box, a designer shirt from his favorite brand. It was my secret gift, and I couldn't wait to see his face when he opened it. He's going to love this, I thought with a smile. When I finally reached his building, I took a deep breath. Using the spare key I had but never needed, I unlocked the door. My heart pounded with anticipation. Maybe he didn't want me to come, because the place is a mess? I giggled to myself, imagining piles of laundry and scattered dishes. But when I stepped inside, everything froze. Pink, frilly curtains swayed gently by the windows. A red heart-shaped cushion sat neatly on a white sofa. The scent of floral perfume lingered in the air. I stumbled back. What is this? Did I walk into the wrong apartment? Panicked, I rushed outside and checked the nameplate.
No.
It was definitely Ryan's place. My stomach twisted into knots. My hands turned ice cold. Something was terribly, terribly wrong. I stepped back inside, my movements slow and deliberate. My eyes darted across the room, searching for anything that made sense. And then I saw it. On a shelf next to the closet, a framed photograph stood proudly on display. My breath caught in my throat. A wedding photo. Ryan, in a black tuxedo, stood beside a woman in a white wedding dress. They were smiling, their fingers intertwined. And right next to it, official marriage documents. My eyes scanned the papers, my vision blurring. Ryan Matthews, and beside his name, written in clear, bold letters, Jessica. I dropped to the floor, my hands trembling as I clutched the photograph. My chest tightened. I felt like I couldn't breathe. No, this can't be, this has to be a mistake. I tried to convince myself that this was a misunderstanding. Maybe it was a joke. Maybe. My thoughts are always with you, even when I'm away. Just wait for me here, Lauren. I promise I'll come back. Ryan's words echoed in my head. The man who had always reassured me. The man who had looked into my eyes and said, I love you, Lauren. Had he been lying this whole time? A sob escaped my lips. Tears streamed down my face as my mind spiraled into chaos. Who was Jessica? When did this happen? Had he been living with her all along? I had been holding on to his words, believing in his love. And now, everything was a lie. I don't know how long I sat there, consumed by devastation, staring at the evidence of my husband's betrayal. Then voices. Let's go back to that restaurant soon. Let's do it for Jessica's birthday next time. I froze. The front door rattled. Hey, what happened to the key? Oh no, did you lose it? Panic surged through me. Ryan, Jessica, they were right outside. I had to get out. Heart pounding, I scrambled to my feet. But it was too late. The doorknob turned. I had no time to think. In pure instinct, I grabbed my bag and shoes and dashed into the closet, pulling the door shut just as they stepped inside. The sound of footsteps filled the apartment. Holding my breath, I peered through the thin gap of the closet door. There he was, Ryan. And beside him, a woman dressed in expensive designer clothes. She looked up at him with pure adoration, her eyes filled with love. I clenched my fists. This was it. I had found the truth. And now, the question remained, what was I going to do about it? Hey, wear the branded shirt I gifted you. My heart stopped. I peered through the tiny gap in the closet door, watching as my mother handed Ryan a neatly wrapped package, the same one I had given him, the exact same shirt. Ryan unwrapped it with a pleased grin. You look great in it, my mom cooed, admiring him. You know, I actually told Lauren I wanted this too, Ryan chuckled. Mom smirked. Then maybe she's out buying the same thing right now, completely unaware that we've already exchanged gifts. Could be, Ryan replied with an amused nod. You better wear the one I gave you, Mom teased, placing her hands on his chest. Of course, he assured her. I watched, frozen in utter horror, as my husband and my mother leaned in for a kiss. This is really happening, right in front of me. My mind swirled with confusion, shock, and disgust. Why is this happening? Is this some kind of sick joke? I felt like I was suffocating. Then I heard something that made my blood run cold. Never thought this would go so smoothly, Ryan said, chuckling. Conspiring with your own daughter to marry me. Jessica, you're something else, my mother's voice purred. My own daughter? I have a husband, you know. If we get caught, I'll lose a lot in the divorce settlement, my mother added with a smug smile. What? What did she just say? Go smoothly? What plan? I thought, my mind racing. I had always believed Ryan, and I met by chance. A mutual friend had introduced us years ago, saying, Lauren, you're always working. Why don't you meet him? He's a good guy. I had trusted that friend. I had trusted Ryan. But now, I talked him into it when he came to the place where I was working part-time, my mother explained casually. Jessica is persuasive, Ryan agreed, smirking. You fell for it too, Ryan, my mom laughed. I got lucky when I fell for it, Ryan admitted, shaking his head with a grin. I'm so glad I approached Jessica back then. No. When Ryan asked me to have coffee during that part-time job, I thought it was a joke, Mom reminisced. But look at the happy times it's led to. I thought you were only a little older than me when I approached you, Ryan added, brushing her hair from her face. Never thought there'd be a 20-year age difference. You're so beautiful, Jessica. It's hard to believe. Mom giggled. I still am, aren't I? Absolutely, Ryan confirmed. I clenched my fists, my nails digging into my palms. My whole body shook with rage. So, this was never love. I was nothing but a pawn in their twisted game. They must have been laughing at me behind my back this entire time. This isn't going down without a fight. Slowly, without making a sound, I reached into my bag and pulled out my cell phone. With trembling fingers, I hit record. I had to capture this. I needed evidence. From inside the closet, I filmed them sitting side by side on the sofa, intertwining their legs, whispering and chuckling like high school lovers. Then, as Ryan started unbuttoning my mother's blouse and kissing her neck, a wave of nausea hit me. I covered my mouth, forcing myself not to scream. I felt like I was going to throw up. Then, what's that? Mom suddenly stiffened and stood up. My heart pounded. She started walking toward the closet. Please don't come here. I held my breath, gripping my phone tightly, trying not to make a single sound. She reached out, but instead of opening the closet door, she picked up a photo frame from the adjacent shelf. Nice to see you put up this picture, she said, smiling at Ryan. Ryan chuckled. Of course. It's a picture from our secret wedding. Secret wedding. I hope the day comes soon when I can submit all the documents for our marriage license, Ryan sighed.
No.
This isn't real. I could divorce Lauren anytime, you know, he added. I'm sorry, just a little longer. Mom sighed. When will you finally pay off that $70,000 debt? Ryan rubbed his forehead. It'll take a few more years, but until then, my husband is the perfect AT. Husband. Ryan was talking about my father. Mom laughed. Same here. Lauren is only good for working, after all. I couldn't take it anymore. My own mother. My own husband. They were using me, both of them. And now, as I stood there in the darkness, silently recording the worst betrayal of my life, I knew this wasn't the end. This was just the beginning. For 35 years, my father had stood by my mother's side. He had loved her, supported her, and built a life with her since she got pregnant with me at 20 years old. And, to her, he was just an ATM. I still couldn't believe the disgusting words I had just heard.
And Ryan,
the man I married, the man I loved, had laughed as he called me the same thing. An A. Lauren falls for anything I say, Mom chuckled. She even believed I was working today on my own birthday. Ryan snickered. She's foolish indeed. Mom smirked. And your husband has no clue either, does he? Of course not. I put on the act of the perfect wife in front of him. Classic Jessica. My stomach twisted. My father had no idea that the wife he cherished was betraying him with his own daughter's husband. I gritted my teeth, clutching my phone tighter, still recording their every word. They won't get away with this. I sent the video along with Ryan's address to the one person I trusted completely. Then I waited. A few minutes later, my phone buzzed. Speech balloon, Dad. I'm outside the front door now. Backup had arrived. I inhaled deeply. Then, with all the force I could muster, I swung the closet doors open. Happy birthday, Ryan. I sneered, hurling the gift I had brought at them. Ryan and my mother jerked back in shock, scrambling to cover themselves. I marched toward the front door and unlocked it. Dad stepped in. His face was unreadable, but his eyes, I had never seen such pure fury in them before. What's going on? Ryan stammered, his face draining of color. Jessica, what are you doing? I thought you were on a business trip. Mom turned to me, panic flashing in her eyes. Lauren, why? I cut her off. I came to surprise my loving husband on his birthday, but it looks like I'm the one who got surprised. Ryan's eyes darted around. Lauren, this is all a misunderstanding. I held up my phone. I saw everything from the closet, Ryan. I pressed play, and their own disgusting voices filled the room. Ryan's jaw snapped shut. Oh, you see. He stuttered, sweating. Dad's voice, low and lethal, cut through the chaos. Jessica, explain yourself. Mom flinched. Listen, this isn't what it looks like. I didn't want this. It was Ryan who… Enough. Dad's tone was sharp as a blade. I've already seen Lauren's video. No more useless excuses. For the first time in my life, I saw my father burning with rage. Ryan turned to me, desperate. Come on, Lauren, forgive me, okay? He reached out, trying to touch me, the same hands that had just been holding my mother. I jerked back in disgust. Don't touch me, trash. Ryan's face twisted. But before he could say anything, Mom stepped in. How could you say that to Ryan? Apologize now. I snapped. Excuse me? She was siding with him? After everything? You should be the one apologizing, Jessica. I spat. What is this pathetic victim act? You hurt me. You hurt Dad. And yet you stand here defending Ryan? She scoffed. Don't you dare speak to Jessica that way. Ryan barked. I stared at them in complete disbelief. Is it normal for a mother to sleep with her daughter's husband? Then, Mom's next words shattered me. Shut up. I regret ever giving birth to a loser like you. Silence. A sharp, searing pain spread through my chest. What? My voice cracked. Mom smirked. I wish you were as beautiful as me. Then maybe you wouldn't be such a waste. I staggered back. You should be grateful, she continued. I even arranged your marriage to Ryan. You would have never gotten married otherwise. A lump rose in my throat. That's so cruel. Tears burned in my eyes. But then, Dad stepped forward. Jessica. His voice was ice cold. Enough is enough. Dad reached into his bag and pulled out 2 sets of divorce papers. Both of you, sign these. Now. He tossed the forms onto the bed. Ryan's face twisted in panic. Wait. We don't have to get a divorce. Having a divorce on record will look bad for my job. Dad's expression didn't change. But you said you wanted to get married quickly, right? I reminded him, mocking his own words. Ryan's face paled. That was just heat of the moment. Stop joking around. I grabbed a pen from the shelf and threw it at him. Sign. Now. My tone was ice. Ryan hesitated, then, reluctantly, signed. I turned to Mom. What's wrong, Jessica? You wanted this, didn't you? Dad taunted. She glared. Then, gritting her teeth, she signed. As Dad collected the sign forms, Ryan pleaded one last time. Lauren, please. I didn't want us to break up. I smirked. Oh, is it because I was your ATM? Ryan's face twitched. You won't be able to pay off that $70,000 debt now, huh? Ryan stiffened. What do you mean? Dad crossed his arms. You were into nightclubs a few years back, weren't you? Ryan's eyes bulged. Why, you knew. I sighed. I was willing to let it go since you seemed to have straightened out. But now? You've done something even worse. Ryan collapsed onto the bed, defeated. Mom turned to Dad. Please, overlook this just once. No chance. Dad tossed them one last document. By the way, I'll be seeking alimony from both of you. I've already hired a lawyer. Direct all communication to them. Jessica and Ryan's faces drained of color. Dad smirked. I'll also be informing your companies about the divorce. With that, he turned to me. Lauren, let's go. We left them screaming at each other. In the divorce proceedings, we successfully demanded $30,000 each in alimony. $120,000 in total. On top of that, Mom had to pay back her $70,000 debt immediately, but the loan sharks she borrowed from weren't patient. Not long after, Ryan and Jessica vanished. Some say they moved away, but the truth? They were taken. As for me, I learned the hardest lesson of my life. I may never trust so easily again. But with my father's support and my own strength, I know a happy future still awaits me, and I will keep moving forward. Please feel free to comment below if you like this. Remember to like and subscribe for more.